Hi everyone, it's Sanni. So I'm here with Sophie. Welcome.
Hello.
And she's agreed to do a little tutorial for teenage makeup with me. I met Sophie probably about a month ago, I think.
I think so.
And her mum had been watching these tutorials on YouTube, and then her mum actually bought the lesson. I think it was as a surprise, or was it a birthday present?
Surprise birthday present. It was a very sweet 16.
So they came here for a joint lesson, and oh my god, it was a lot of fun. And then we decided to do a little tutorial because lots of you have been asking me on some tips and tricks on how to do makeup specifically for teenage girls, and I thought it would be a lot better to have a real teenage girl here as opposed to like doing it all myself. So yeah, we're gonna talk through some hints and tips. Most of the stuff that I'm going to be using is going to be drugstore. The idea is that you don't have to spend a ridiculous amount of money. It's more about using the products in the right kind of way. So yeah, without further ado, we're just going to get started. Okay, so we are going to start off with skin. I'm going to put your hair back a little bit. And you can use whatever moisturizer you normally use. I am actually going to use MAC's oil control lotion. I know I just said that I'm using mainly drugstore products. This isn't, but it's a really, really good like primer and moisturizer for skin that is kind of breakout prone. And it absorbs super quickly. And it is, I don't think it's 100% hypoallergenic because it does have a little bit of scent in it, but it's just super light and fantastic. Just use any kind of light moisturizer that you would normally use. And then we're gonna go, and I've got two foundations here, which I think you will be one of them. This is the Bourjois Healthy Mix Serum Foundation. It's the serum version, so it's the gel version. And I am going to be using a pre-wetted beauty blender to apply it. And this is, I would say, medium coverage normally. I'm just going to test it on your chin first. Just here, that's perfect. So when you're buying foundation, always test it just here on the side of your neck so that it matches, because a lot of people's face and neck is a completely different color. So it's good to just swatch it here so that you don't see like a massive orange line here, or if you buy foundation that's way too light, then you're going to see like a big big line there as well. So we are going to use the 52 Vanilla, and I'm just going to put it on the back of my hand and use the beauty blender. Now the reason why I'm using this is I want really sheer coverage because Sophie actually has very beautiful skin. There's a couple of little breakouts that we're going to cover afterwards, but if you do get breakouts, it's better to mostly do a nice and sheer foundation and then just lightly cover the breakouts as opposed to like caking yourself in foundation. I think you, Sophie, told me before that you used to do that at some point.
Yes, I did.
No more.
Now it's freedom.
Everybody's done it at some point. I have for sure as well. Turn your face a little bit this way, thank you. Now we're going to use a concealer. Now, I think for me, one of the best ways of doing concealer is actually using a full coverage foundation. I am going to mix these two. This is the Vichy Dermablend, and this is like a super full coverage foundation, but it's a lot more natural than, for example, if you're using like a really cakey, like a stick concealer, that can often cake on too much. So, and these are, at least here in France, these are like 15 euros each, and as a concealer, this is gonna last you until you're, I don't know, 55, I guess, at least. You might not want it then. So you just put the tiniest amount on the back of your hand. And I know that she's probably going to be a combination of these two. So I'm just mixing it on the back of my hand, and I am going to use a fluffy brush. This is the MAC 224. You could use the Sigma equivalent. Most of the brushes that I'm going to use are Sigma brushes actually, because they are super inexpensive. So with the fluffy brush, I'm essentially just kind of buffing in over the areas where there's foundation. So there's no actual line to where the concealer ends and where the very light foundation begins. So it just like covers super lightly. If there's like a tiny bit that you want a little bit more coverage in, I just put a tiny bit more on it and then just buff the edges. But when you're using a fluffy brush, it just makes the whole application a lot more, I don't know, seamless, I guess. Because a lot of people will be using, I'll show you, like using a brush like this is actually an Urban Decay brush, requires a lot more experience to get that really smooth, whereas a fluffy brush like this, you don't need to be expert at concealing, because you can just buff it in and it's amazing how it gets rid of everything. And also because if you have a tendency to break out, there'll be like little red areas around that are not actually spots at all, it's just a little bit of redness. It's brilliant for that as well. I am going to use the Garnier roll-on. This is anti-dark circles. So, because obviously people do tend to get dark circles no matter what age. So you don't need to worry too much about under eye wrinkles, but if you're staying up late studying or going out with friends or not studying but staying up late anyways, it's good to be able to cover the dark circles. And the Garnier one is like super light and stays on pretty much all day long. I'm just keeping the same brush that I had in my hand before. You don't need to buy tons of different brushes to do makeup. In fact, I'm going to try and use as little brushes as possible. There are certain things that are great to invest in. I'm also taking the concealer all the way to the inner corner, like this part, because that's often if you're tired, that's the super dark area. This is actually a finished drugstore product. As I said, like there's a lot of different kinds of drugstore products in this. This is just a, close your eyes please, and a primer for the eyelids, and it kind of evens out the tone, but every single brand pretty much nowadays has one. It's just to make your eyeshadow last longer, not crease, and it does unify the skin tone a little bit, because most of us have slightly darker eyelids than the rest of our face, so it's nice to even it out. I am going to use some color tattoos, Maybelline Color tattoos, and I was contemplating between the pomegranate pink, which is beautiful, or this is Bad to the Bronze. And I think we're going to go Bad to the Bronze because it's kind of like, it's a really pretty glowy look that we're going to go for. So I'm going to take a Sigma brush. This is the E55 eye shading brush. So yeah, we're going to use Bad to the Bronze, and I'm going to use the Sigma E55. And the way we're going to do it is, I'm just going to, close your eyes please. I'm just going to put it on the moving part of the eyelid. And you just do kind of very, very light strokes. Build it up slowly. I'm going to take the Sigma E35, close your eyes, and I'm just going to blend the edges. Now, important with any eyeshadow is leave a little bit, so all of this skin is pretty much bare, and it doesn't matter how intense you go on the colour on the moving part of the lid, but if you leave that bare, it just keeps the look a lot fresher. So we're going to do the other eye, so if you turn your head a little bit that way, and open your eyes and look at me, great. So when she's got her eyes open, you can see it a little bit, but not too much, and then when you close your eyes, you can see the shadow a whole lot more. I'm going to use a, what is it? A little pencil brush. This is also from Sigma. And I'm just going to put a tiny bit under your eyes. Look up for me. I'm not going to do your whole lash line. I'm just going to do kind of like the outer corner. Fabulous. Thank you very much. So that would be like the easiest possible eyeshadow you could ever do, is just do that, curl your lashes, and you're ready to go. I am going to use a tiny bit of a darker color. So I'm using the Wet n Wild Comfort Zone palette. This is an amazing palette. Like, you get 8 colors for almost no money. Do you have this as well? Because you're nodding.
I saw it when you did your tutorial.
It's a lovely palette.
It's so cool. I love the colors.
It's just amazing because you can do tons of different looks with this. And I am going to use, it's called the crease color, so I will be actually using it on the crease. This is just like a medium brown kind of color. It has a tiny bit of shimmer in it, but it's not like super glittery. Shimmer is great. Full on glitter usually tends to fall off your face too much. So be more careful with that. So close your eyes, and I'm just going in the lash line and in the outer corner. You can start kind of building an outer V, but don't do too much of a V because it's completely like, that requires more practice, and a badly done V is more unattractive than no V at all. So I'm just kind of deepening this isn't even the outer half, maybe it's the outer half, outer third, outer half, and it is a little bit of a V shape onto the side, but it's kind of following totally the natural contour of the socket, not extending it, not lifting it up. Look at me. Perfect. Thank you. And the other eye. And it just deepens it ever so slightly. The cream color serves as an amazing base, so it kind of intensifies any color that you're using. And you could do this, like this kind of a color combination, by using a medium color on the main part of the lid and slightly darker one on the outer corner. It's not too garish, so you're not going to look like you're going to a Halloween party when you're matching it. Totally tone on tone. Look up for me. And I'm just doing the same kind of slightly richer, browner color on both. And again, you could leave it at that and not put on liner. We're going to put on the tiniest amount of liner. I'm going to use the L'Oreal Paris, what is this called? Gel Intenza eyeliner in black. And this is like the MAC fluid line, completely the same concept. And the reason why I'm using this is a lot of the time, girls will either be using kind of like a pencil type liner or a, do I have one here? Yeah. A kind of like a liquid type liner. And both of those are a lot more difficult to use than a gel liner. So it's much better if you're practicing on how to do a line, use a gel liner. It's easier to control and the end result is better. And also the L'Oreal one, I think the Maybelline one as well, comes with its own little eyeliner brush. So it's brilliant. You get the actual eyeliner brush with it. So get your brush in really well. And then I like to mix it on the back of my hand as well, just to make sure there's no clumps. And then close your eye. And this isn't a kind of dramatic eyeliner look, so I'm actually just kind of smudging it on the lash line. And the important thing here is you just accentuate the root of the lashes, not really creating a definite line. And so really smudge it into the lash line, because there's nothing worse. This is a mistake a lot of people do with a pencil, is they line the upper lash line with a pencil, but then there's like a gap between the lashes and the liner, and it just looks horrible. So it's more important to get it into the lash line first, and then you can kind of work on making the line better. But this is a super smudged one, so we're not going to go for a liner look. So open your Prism look just here. And look at me. So I'm going to clean up under the eyes now. I'm using the Beauty Blender and just cleaning up any of the fallout. It's really important you don't powder before you're finished with the eyeshadow, so that you're just left with a much tidier look. So this is the only tool that I would tell you to invest money in, please. Eyelash curlers. You can ask somebody for them as a birthday present, as a Christmas present, anything. These are Shu Uemura eyelash curlers, and they cost a lot of money. I think these are about 30 euros. But having said that, it's good to invest in really, really good ones. They will last you forever, and also you won't risk pinching your eyelid. So look down for me, because if you buy cheap ones, you're only going to end up with really horrible L-shaped lashes, and also they often pinch you. Fabulous, thank you. And then we're going to use a Maybelline Falsies. This is fake Falsies, I think, in, this is Falsies. Yeah, it is Falsies in America.
With a nice little bottle.
It's so cute. And this is one of my most favorite mascaras ever. Look down for me. It builds amazing lashes, and it stays on all day long. It doesn't smudge, it doesn't run. It will run if you cry lots, but this is not waterproof. But they do have a waterproof version of it, but in actual fact this is my favorite version. I don't know what it is about waterproof mascaras, but they just never add as much volume. I'm going to powder with a Bourjois powder. This is called Flower Perfection, and this is like one of those HD style powders that is so super fine, and it's actually a little bit pink. It doesn't come out pink on your skin, and unfortunately I don't have a cheap version of this brush. This is a Paris Berlin number, the number has worn off, brush. It's just a very small powder brush, and I personally like this, the less I powder the better. I don't like it when skin is too powdery, but I'll always powder under the eyes, the nose, around the nose. Like here, when you just powder, if I just powder here, that's where it gets really oily, and that's a telltale sign of like grease breaking through. There we go. Thank you. And then wherever you put on concealer, you can just like lightly powder over it. This is the NYC Smooth Skin Bronzing Face Powder, and it's great because it doesn't have too much shimmer, and if you want to use it for contouring, something without shimmer is much better. And I'm using a Sigma large angled contour brush, and basically just get the tip of it in, don't get the whole tip, because this will help you contour a little bit as well, and then the bristles that are clean will help you blend. And I'm going to start here at just under the cheekbones, and I'm just going to do kind of like a V shape in, then under the chin and onto the forehead. On the forehead I'm going to put a little bit more, but this is super, super light. If you want a completely bronzed look, you would basically use a very big brush, but I don't want to go too bronze with this, so we're just being super light. This is one of my favorite blushes for anybody, any age in the world. It's a Milani blush, and it's called Luminous, and it's beautiful. It's very similar to NARS's Orgasm, but this probably costs like 1/10 of the price, not even. So yeah, I don't have a great drugstore blush brush, so I'm just going to use the matte brush. And the easiest way, like a common mistake that I see people do with blush is they start here and then they put tons of product right in the middle of the cheek, and that is really difficult to correct. So I like to start where I start bronzer as well, so here at the hollow of your cheek, and just blush up essentially. So you're blushing up the temple and towards the center of the face. So I kind of do one that way, and one down. And then over here you don't get like too much of concentration. If you want to use a highlighter, Topshop does a great dupe for NARS multiples that are crazy expensive. This one is called Prism, and it just highlights beautifully. It's super easy to use, so you just dab it on and blend it. And so it's nice to put here on the tops of your cheekbone. I sometimes put a little bit on the bridge of the nose because it gives a nice sheen. Don't take it all the way to the tip of the nose, because that will kind of translate as oily. And also a nice little trick is just to put a tiny bit of that on your Cupid's bow. That is a trick that Victoria's Secret models do all the time. We're almost there. I'm just going to put some brow gel. I am very happy that you have left your brows alone. So if you get individual like little hairs in between, do pluck them, but leave the shape alone because the shape is great. And there's a lot of women that were young ladies in the 90s and now regret it terribly because all the eyebrows were so plucked. I'm going to add a little tiny bit of color into the eye makeup. This is by no means something that you need to do. This is a great way of playing with color. Is if you want to add color to eye makeup, you're not 100% sure how to do it. Pencils are a great way to do it because you don't have to worry about blending blue or green or purple eyeshadow, which can be a little bit difficult. I think I'm going to go for the really light blue one. Look up for me. Because it really brightens up your eyes. But learning how to do, you know, bright blue eyeshadow well is an art in itself, and also probably takes way too long, like on a school morning. But this one is just an easy and quick way to add some color. There we go. And then I'm going to use, on the lips, I'm going to use a chubby stick. This is a, what color is this? This is something, oh, Fresh Morning, number 14. It's actually kind of like a peachy sorbet kind of color. So these chubby sticks, they're brilliant. I love them. Every brand does their own version, and they stain your lips and they give you a little bit of gloss. So they're super easy to use. So thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Sophie, so much for coming here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And if you have any questions for me, or if you have any questions or comments for Sophie as well, write them in the comment box below, and I shall make sure she receives them too. And yeah, you can ask anything about how to choose foundation, or what would suit what color eyes, or whatever. So anyways, please remember to comment, rate, subscribe, like, you know, all of that good stuff, and like. And I shall see you again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.
See you soon. Bye.